days just into this new day. Like I was busting another one. Who feels so good? Rise it up, I'm on the own. Just got on the radio, it's a positive mood. It's something like just a perfect mood. Sonic waves glaze for days in the sunlight haze. I feel good to be alive. All this shit that beat me down the corners, I still survive. It ain't all complicated. I'm glad I found you. It's when you open your heart, the love surrounds you.
That's it. That's it. Welcome back, everybody, to another edition of Ain't That Right? I'm your host, Duncan Dad, here on the Coastal Sports Digital Network, SR1029thegame.com. Yes, proud partner, cousin, brother, sister, uncle of the Odyssey family. Be sure to look us up. Follow everybody on the station. Great programs coming up. Of course, World Cup is in full-fledged action right now. Everybody loves it. Everybody's watching it. We are enamored with the Europeans who are taking over our cities, enjoying our foods. Tartan Army, shout out to the Scotch. Love those guys. Freddie, of course, Freddie's making a big name for himself as well. The German fans and the French fans that have arrived here in Philadelphia who are taking days off from work and didn't tell their bosses, yada, yada, yada. Good for them. It's 4 years. You guys get vacations every 2 weeks anyway, so have a good time. But today is a particularly special anniversary. And you're going to be like, where in the hell are you going with this? It's the middle of June. Well, 37 years ago, and because I am of a seasoned age, I can speak of this. It was iconic. It was incredible. It was all the hoopla, and it was very divided at the same time. So 37 years ago today, I still remember where I was at, what was going on. A man in a big rubber suit jumped onto the big screen and changed the whole temperature of storytelling and the idea of superheroes being represented. It came from the perfect collaboration of Tim Burton's mind. He didn't just give us the Batman as the character. He gave us Gotham, and he gave us a mirror into life at that time. It's kind of like a film noir, modern sort of take on the Batman comics. But it reminded everyone walking around that they all have, a little bit of a shadow, a little bit of an edge. Everyone's got a bright side, but everyone's got a whole lot of purpose that should be claimed. You should own it. You see, because Bruce Wayne didn't become Batman in this story because his life was easy. Quick recap, he became Batman because his life wasn't easy. That's where his 3Gs showed up, right? Growth happened in the alleyways when he watched his parents get unalived. Not in the penthouse or in the fancy meals or in the fancy mansions, right? His grace in his character shows up when people are misunderstood, but he sees their mission. And giving back, that's when he takes his time and uses his real gifts, not only with the backing of a multi-millionaire, billionaire Bruce Wayne, but giving back and lifting up the city just because it's the right thing to do. You can get into the whole psychology of it and do all the analysis and break it down and, trying to replace people and fill up. We get all that. But the whole idea is that as we celebrate this anniversary, 37 years ago today, it was a film that redefined how we looked at and categorized a hero. And it makes us think about our own lives and how we have our own Joker, our own Riddler, our own Gotham in our own life. The place that needs courage, right? The place that we need to step into and be the light for other people. The version of ourselves that's waiting to be fully revealed because here you are. I'm here now. I'm going to handle this business. Because you don't need superpowers to be powerful. You just need to have a purpose. So let's get into this whole idea of Batman, the original Batman. 1989, Tim Burton. So he has this wonderful idea. He comes off of the movie Beetlejuice. If you guys seen Beetlejuice, I'm sure you guys have seen that. It's a funny movie. They just did a whole reboot again, and there's touring all over Broadway. Phenomenal mind. Tim Burton's catalog goes really, really deep. Nightmare After Christmas, Nightmare Before Christmas, Coraline, all this stuff. Really deep storytelling. Not just your typical, oh, everything is happy, sunshine, rainbows, blah, 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 blah. But there's always a light, there's always meaning, there's always hope. And when you put this on the backdrop of like an iconic superhero comic hero, Batman, was like, whoa, what's going to happen with this? So he reimagined the whole concept of Batman as like, Batman's not going to be this happy go lucky Adam West version, 60s sort of Batman. He's going to be a little more brooding, a little more to himself. He's going to have an actual battle one-on-one and psychologically with the Joker for like the soul of Gotham, the soul of the world, your own soul, like what you want to chase, what you want to get involved in, what you want to do. Like, it's stylized, it's very psychological, really, really, I would say iconic performances where they sort of set the bar. And the characters that were cast, they were cast with people who really befit the roles and really reshaped the way that superhero cinema, so to say, and launched it. It really launched it, put it on the map again. So from the very beginning, you've got the 3 Gs, right? Growth, race, giving back. Gotham is going to be our teacher against it. So I guess we got 4 Gs today. But becoming the version of yourself the moment requires. So sometimes you got to be billionaire Bruce Wayne. Sometimes you got to be nice, clean cut. Right? Sometimes you got to be Dalton, Roadhouse, right? I want you to be nice until it's time not to be nice. Shout out to Patrick Swayze, R.I.P. But Burton's Batman and his whole idea of Batman and the whole idea that we are chasing ourselves and doing our things, it's a risk, right? Like, his whole idea was a dark superhero movie in 1989. Big studios hated it. People hate your ideas. They don't like your ideas. They're not always on board with your ideas. Fans initially hated the casting. And the critics, Siskel and Ebert, everybody else, they doubted the way that this movie was going to come across in its tone, its storytelling, and the message. Hindsight being 2020, it's put up on its pedestal. But in the actual birth, in the moment, all of this negative commentary was thrown at it. There are things that we do in our lives consistently where we are constantly cut down by people critiquing us. And these are most likely peers, family members, other outside pundits, individuals who are just throwing stuff at you. And you could be like, hey, you know what? Forget it. I'm going to pack it up. I'm going to stop. I'm not going to do anything. But taking an example from those two guys, particularly Keaton and Burton, they were like, nah. You essentially, you're going to call me a villain. You want me to be a villain? You think it's going to fail? Like, well, now I'm going to double down. I'm really going to lean into this. I know what I'm doing. I know what I like. I know what I enjoy. I know where I want to be. I know where I want to go. Because growth, how we talk about this consistently, isn't about being ready. You're never going to have a moment where it's going to be like, here comes the envelope, here comes the knock on the door, open up, it's going to say, are you ready? No, it's not going to say that. It's about being willing in that moment when it presents itself. But you don't know when it's coming. You don't know when it's going to be there. But priority practices, daily disciplines, what you're moving towards, here it is. Iron's hot now, let's go. But when's it going to be hot? I don't know. But when's it going to be ready? I don't know. 2 seconds later, boom, here it is. So what does it teach us? What does Batman, this particular version, what does it teach us? It teaches us that growth happens when we stop trying to fit a mold. Stop trying to fit the old mold. Yeah, we talk about all the time about, I'm going to move on, be better. I'm going to, do more. Well, people say this all the time. Break cycles. break patterns, break molds. It could be something as simple as augmenting one or two little things in your daily routine that breaks a mold. It might not be instantaneously broken. It may take some time to break it. You may have to put in the legwork. You may have to put in the labor. You may have to put in the elbow grease, the mental, physical, emotional toll. But if you want to break this mold, that's what happens, because growth requires trusting your vision. Trust in your vision, even when other people don't see it yet. Look at someone like Elon Musk. Oh yeah, you're gonna cashless pay systems. That's crazy. Cash is king. Oh, now you're gonna have a car that drives itself. That's crazy. Oh, and you can go to space and reuse your rockets. Oh, that's crazy. Say what you want about the politics. Say what you want about where someone falls on that spectrum and who their friends are and whatnot. Take all that stuff, put it in a box, put it on the shelf, put it aside, and look at the idea that if you were to present that with someone, present that idea, you would have more detractors and more people cutting you down than you would have supporting you. Why? Because it's not the old mold. It's seeing something, having a vision, having the foresight when other people aren't on board with it. Why? Because it's comfortable just to stay in this old mold. It's comfortable just to stay the way it was. Well, yeah, it comes with this and it comes with that, and we give away this and we give away that, so it's all right, but we tolerate it. Well, now you've tolerated a unpeaceful, unhappy existence for how long? Because that's just the way it is, right? Shout out to Bruce Hornsby. That's just the way it is. Do-do-do, do-do-do, do-do. We're going 80s today, people. Sorry. I just had we're having one of those moments. So growth then is choosing the hard. Being honest, not only with what you're doing, what you're trying to achieve, but honest with yourself. Because then you got the full honest version of you. Okay, I know I got to work on this. I know in this particular moment, I need something from my utility belt. The other times, I need from my utility mind, my utility emotions. But I've seen the way that we've done this before. I've been through this experience before, and guess what? It don't work like that. And it doesn't work like that for me particularly. So everybody placating you, it's all nice, playing that. I'm going to say something. They have these little things go around Snapchat, TikTok, shorts and stuff like that. And it's like the Veronica girl talking to the people in HR and all that stuff. Right? And the woman, she's like, no, actually, if I'm going to do this, you're going to pay me more. Well, no, you can't. Well, no, listen, you're expecting more. It's bringing to the reality of saying what needs to be said out loud to break that constant mold of just constantly going through the same cycle over and over and over and keeping people in particular places. It doesn't work like that. It doesn't work like that. So just like Bruce Wayne, when he steps into that suit, growth is our decision in the moment that we make in the shadows, long before the spotlight hits. No one's seeing you. I mean, granted, it's just the year, the life, whatever, social media. Like, no one sees you grinding. And there's a great quote. I'm pretty sure it's by Longfellow. I'm going way over today. But it's like, never know, while people are sleeping, you're still working, blah, blah, blah. That's the gist of it. The bottom line is, you don't have to be showing people your work 24/7. They're going to see the results. They're going to see the results. So when you're over here in the shadows, when you're putting in the work, when you're grinding, what specifically are you grinding? Good habits, bad habits, good decisions, poor decisions, misallocation of resources, speaking before you should speak, not listening when you should listen. Those are the things that we really latch onto, because when that moment says, hey, I'm ready, the iron's hot, everything that you're doing over here in the background, boom, that's what's going to come out. Not, hold on a second, let me reevaluate everything and put this all into perspective and run all the analytics and the statistics, and now I'm going to respond. No, because that's not how life happens. Life happens in a snap, in an instant, and you respond. So if you're not doing the growth on the backside, in the shadows, then when you come to do this in real time, you're going to be lost for action. Yes, good afternoon, Rick Marcus. The weather, it wasn't too bad. It was flooding a little bit in parts of Philadelphia, just flash flooding runnings. And just to sidetrack before we get into Batman with our Grace particular section right now, listen, we are all stewards and keepers of our neighborhood, our community, our environments. I cannot recall a time growing up where I did not at least see something in the streets by storm drains, by water things, whatnot, and at least get it out of the path. I know, yeah, what was me, Batman, DD, blah, 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 pat on the back. But having spent some time in smaller infrastructure, you really understand the whole concept of having these waterways clear and open, especially when you have tributaries, you have rains, you have streams, you have creeks, you have rivers, and you have the brush that falls down. So this all backs up. And obviously in the city, we have another plate with the trash and the garbage. And then on top of that, they turn around and they want to keep building and building and building, which, hey, listen, progress is great. Yay, capitalism, do whatever you want to do. But, if you begin to take away the soil and the ground, the water needs to go somewhere. The water needs to go somewhere. There's a great experiment. They have it on YouTube, and it's a guy, he built like basically a little ecosystem. Gravel, rocks, some sand, some clay, some grass on top, and and then he started adding water to it and started taking things away. And it just goes to prove that if you take something away, just like in life, it gets replaced with something. So they're taking things away, now it's getting replaced with water. The water's got to go somewhere. Well, it's going somewhere. So yeah, thanks for the shout out. Yes, Germantown did look nasty. I know there's a big hullabaloo over the fact that the World Cup stadium, the link didn't have a dome on it. Listen, this is the summertime. This is the summertime in the United States. Summertime, other places in this hemisphere. Weather's going to happen. It's weather. That's what we do. We get up and move on. We can have storms in Pennsylvania, New York, New Jersey, and just below us in Maryland, Virginia, D.C., it could be sunny. It could be sunny down the shore and pouring up in the city. It's a massive continent, North America. It's a huge chunk of land. Weather's always coming through, so we just have to deal with it. We just move on. And everybody had a great time. French fans were great. Senegalese fans, they were great. Really cool watching the guys who, like the French guys that moved to the States, both played soccer, doing their little commentary. It's really nice. It's really nice to see all that. So getting back to Bruce Wayne and Batman, we tick on Grace, right? And that's where we're holding steady when the world misunderstands you. When they cast Keaton for this role, and everybody loves it when he gives his commencement speeches anyways, and he's like, and I've got one more thing to say. And he pauses and he pauses, and he says, I'm Batman. And he was dragged when he was cast. He wasn't the guy to be Batman. There was Mel Gibson, there was Harrison Ford, there was Richard Gere, there was think of every prominent 80s actor in the world. That was the guy. And Tim Burton was like, no, not for me and not for my vision, not for what I see. And now to this day, you still have a lot of people like, oh, well, Christian Bale, blah, 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 blah. But people will still say, listen, it's Keaton. Keaton set the bar, right? Said he wasn't tough enough. Said he wasn't tall enough. Said he wasn't serious enough. Because his roles up to that point in his life were more comedic based. Mr. Mom. There was a movie about the cars, the Japanese, that they come over and have a whole factory. Just wasn't necessarily the guy that you looked at. For a lot of times you could sit there and say he was typecast sort of like McConaughey was. But they went into the shadows and they did some work. Started to really mature and get into the roles that they wanted to take on. Because people tell you you're not tall enough, you're not smart enough, you're not funny enough. We deal with it all the time. Because why? People start to misjudge us. That's where Grace comes in. They misjudge your capacity. There's a lot of people out there, a lot of people listening, a lot of people watching right now. You are dealing with so much in your life, carrying it so well, and surviving. Take 2 seconds. kudos to you. Because there's a lot of us around carrying some heavy, heavy crap. Not only for ourselves, but for other people. And you still show up and you're still present. So when people question your intentions, when your path doesn't look like everybody else's path, that's okay. You've got grace and you show grace. Doesn't mean you don't get upset. Doesn't mean you don't get excited. Doesn't mean you get angry. Doesn't mean you throw a little shade here and there. You're human. But for the most part, you don't clap back. You don't have to sit there and defend yourself. You know who you are. You know what you're about. Mickey Man's not paying your rent. Shout out to Chaz. You just go out and you deliver one of the most iconic portrayals in life. The way that Keaton did in film. Man, nothing gets to that person. It gets to us. Of course it gets to us. Does it bother you? Of course it bothers you. But I'm not going to let you see me sweat. I'm not going to feed into your fodder. I'm not going to feed into this little idea. Nope, sorry. You don't get to do that to me. Grace is that quiet confidence. That's Batman. That's who you are. It's the kind that lets your work, what you're doing, your actions, how you're showing up, how you are engaging, speak louder than any kind of wound you have, any kind of burden you're carrying, any kind of criticism or critique that gets thrown your way. Because you are and you always will be giving back. And you're going to use your gifts, your talent, the work you do in the shadows to lift everything around you. Why? Because Batman doesn't save Gotham for applause, man. He's not out there like, yeah, throw me a parade, let's go. Lift it up, all raise roof. No, you don't want a parade. You don't want a parade. You don't do it for the headlines. Is acknowledgement going to come along? Yes. Will appreciation eventually come along? Yes. It's all part and parcel with it. There's an arc, there's a flow. But you're doing it, why? Because you can. Because you can. So many people today don't do things because they're looking for all the other things to register first. Do it because you can do it. Yeah, people sitting in a chair can't get up and walk around. Somebody going, oh, my knees and my back are hurting. You're able to stand and walk. You're able to think clearly for yourself. You're able to read, to write, to enjoy. And you're going to spend your time being and seeing over something. Woe is me. And then talk out of the other side of your face to someone else to get some gold stickers. Get out of here, man. No. What kind of story is that? Seriously, what kind of story is that? Do it because you can. Do it because, oh my God, it's the right thing to do. Do it because maybe someone else out there isn't equipped as much as you are. Maybe they don't have the same amount of resources. Maybe they don't have the same channels to work with. But you're giving them an example. You're showing them a way to do it. You're lifting someone else up while you're lifting yourself up. And if you're only going and only doing it for the applause and the recognition, that's a conversation you need to have with yourself. Is it wrong to have goals? No. Is it wrong to want to achieve things? No. Is it wrong to... No, none of that is wrong. But if that is the sole reason, then we need to do a little more work in the shadows. So, what did the film itself give back? It opened doors for more artistic and darker storytelling. Things that weren't just necessarily, oh, it's a relationship issue. Oh, it's somebody went off to war and came back. Oh, it was somebody driving a car fast. Oh, it was fantasy Ghostbusters. Oh, it was fantasy. No, it was, let's really use this medium now, the same that we can, the same that we do with social media, the same that we do with the people in our lives and our relationships, to Really dig down into the depths and the essence and the feelings and the soul of life. Let's portray that. Let's think of all the films that came after, the films that really, really resonated, and how much of a shift it was in the way that stories were told. That giving back inspired all of these other people to pick up a camera, to tell their stories, to go in a whole different direction. Coen Brothers, Blair Witch Project, even James Cameron, when he turned around and got to a point where he did Avatar, coming off of stuff like Terminator. But giving back isn't always charity. Sometimes you give back in what you do and it becomes innovation. Having the vision and seeing things before people need to have it. Courage. You stepped outside the box. You broke the mold. That'll never work. Why would you want to do that? Why would you want to invest in Apple? Why would you want to invest in Amazon? No one's going to buy books and have them delivered to their house. It wasn't just about books. He saw the inventory. He saw the warehouses. He saw the trucks. He saw the infrastructure. He saw the jobs. Again, say what you want about people's politics, places, and things. The ideas, the vision, the forethought. It's showing people what's possible when they sit there and say it's not possible. I feel like we should break into Dream the Impossible Dream. You know, get it out, put it on Spotify. But for us, giving back is what? Using our platform that we have every single day, even if it's just your job or your relationship or your family, just to bring other people up, make somebody feel like they're worth something. Engage with them. Create work, create memories, create legacies that outlive this little moment. Leave, and I love this. It's my favorite. They say, leave the world better than you found it. People are always asking about, what are some good quotes? What are some good bits of advice you ever had? Blah, 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 blah. I was told early on, leave someplace better than how you found it. Standing at the counter, it's kind of dirty. Clean it up. Stand there. You're waiting. We've talked about this before on the program. But that's what our giving back does. Taking that moment, no applause, no gold stars, no headlines, but you're there. And you can do it. And you're capable of it. And you're fortunate enough to be there in that moment. And that has a ripple effect. It does. It absolutely does. If you walk into a room and you're an a-hole, people will start being a-holes. If you walk into a room and you're the opposite, that is contagious. We are, as much as we are receivers, we emit our vibes and frequencies and whatever to everybody else. You all know when someone's giving off a bad vibe, you're like, whoa, yep, not even going to go there. Because you don't know to the extremes that someone is going to go. Conversely, if someone's in a good mood, something good happens, man, and if you're willing and you're open to accept it and receive it, and you're not just about, well, I didn't get my headline, I didn't get my applause, me. You're genuinely happy for people, and then people are happy. And then from there, goes and goes and goes, and obviously people make good decisions, bad decisions, 1 tequila, 2 tequila, hold on. Point being is that we will pick up on that vibe and follow with that vibe, but initially when we at the offset of something, in the beginning, people might not see it. They might not understand it. They might not be on board with it. 1, don't let that squash and kill your dream desire and your drive. 2, don't be afraid to bring other people along with that if they want to share into it. Use the platform to elevate others. Create a legacy that outlives the moment. Leave the world better than how you found it. Those are our takeaways. Those are our 3 G's with DD, maybe the 4th G for Gotham. So as we wrap everything up today, fam, hold on to this image. That bat signal. Whatever signal, symbol, something you want it to be, it's cutting through that night sky. Answer that call. Not because it's flashy. Not because it's iconic. Not because you're going to get a reward. Answer because someone out there, maybe it's you, someone out there believes that help and being a better person and a bigger person and doing the right thing, it reminds you that that's still possible. It's not just talk. It's not just hearsay. And for a lot of us who carry that weight, who carry that burden, who do the work in the shadows, that's you. You're someone's bat signal. You're someone's symbol. When you choose growth and you show people what real transformation looks like, yeah, I was down, yeah, I was out, yeah, I went through this, yeah, but now I'm here. When you walk and act and respond with grace, and you teach people how to stand up, be accounted for, without having to strike back and throw shade and be bitter and go below your standards, you become the kind of hero that doesn't need a cape. Because what you're giving back and what people see in your heart and how you express yourself and how you handle yourself, that sets the real tone. Burton's Batman, 37 years ago today. The lesson, it's brand new every morning. Right? The world doesn't need perfection. The world needs people who show up. Batman, Bruce Wayne, listener, show up. So whatever your particular Gotham happens to be, whatever weight you're carrying, your family, your neighborhood, your community, your dream, your calling, your life, answer the signal. Step into the moment. A hero doesn't always win the fight. A hero is someone who refuses to walk away from it. Those are your 3 G's with DD. Keep shining. Keep doing work in shadows. Have a great remainder of your Tuesday. I will be back later on this week and get ready for a couple more games in the FIFA World Cup, getting close to the knockout round. Lots of excitement. I'm sure there'll be some more stories from all of our friendly tourists visiting. And again, if you have an opportunity to be a light in someone's day, look at it and be ready for it. Take action. Have a good day, everybody. I'll talk to you later.